All right, and we are live. Welcome to the first episode, the inaugural episode of the Questionable Group Chat. We have myself, Sumit, and I am a co-host of the Questionable Group Chat, along with my twin brother. If you can't tell, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, this is Deepak. I am the co-host and co-founding member of the Questionable Group Chat.
Yep. And as I mentioned, we are twins. I'll leave it to you and up to your imagination of which one of us you think is older. Um, and we're going to start off the inaugural episode with probably one of the most important things in our lives. It's definitely 40% of my personality, which is the Baltimore Ravens. And specifically, we're just going to recap the offseason as well as go into our season predictions for the 2024 season. So why don't we start off with a recap? Deepak, do you want to give us an idea of what happened in the end of last season?
Well, the Ravens were off to a really hot start. They were demolishing opponents left and right. The vaunted NFC champions, 49ers, got their ass kicked by Lamar and the Ravens on Christmas Day. We were beating the best teams seemingly every week. And then we made it to the playoffs. And we won one good game, solid game from Lamar, 4 touchdowns. I was at that game against the Texans. It was freezing cold. Um, Won that game. It started off the first half was really close. We went into halftime 10-10, and then we came out in the second half and just annihilated them, showed that we were the better team. Then it was the AFC Championship game, which I didn't go to, and I'm glad I didn't go because we ended up um, losing pretty badly. Not badly, but in a horrible fashion. We lost
Yeah,
to the two-time back-to-back champions Kansas City Chiefs in a game we probably should have won. Just a series of mistakes from coaching, quarterback play, receiver play, just all around. The only thing I could say is the defense played great. I mean, they did what they were supposed to do. They
yeah,
held
they
them to I forget how many
17
points.
points.
17
17
points. Yeah,
points.
they played great.
Yeah, they did their
That's all
job.
you can ask for against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. That's all you can ask for. So
Yeah.
that's how the season ended. And then we went
And
into the
then,
off season.
yeah, we fell into crippling depression and despair.
Right.
Definitely don't remember, the second half of the game because I just blacked out and was in
Developed an
denial.
addiction. Got over that addiction.
Yeah.
Now back to
Yeah.
ready
No,
ready
yeah.
for week one.
Oh yeah. As soon as Derrick Henry was added to our offense, that's when I got over my depression and I was like, "Oh wow. We added Derrick Henry. So now we're going to go from the number 1 rushing offense to the number 1 rushing offense." And
Right. I was
no.
actually hearing some people say that adding Derrick Henry is not going to really make a big impact on the Ravens, which I think is a
I
fair point, just because what you just said. We were going from the number one rushing offense to the number one rushing offense. So it's like, how much of an impact will it really have? But I disagree. Obviously, I think, yeah, number one to number one, but we're going to be even more like the difference between us and number two is going to be even greater because he's a different animal. He wears down defenses. You have to scheme around him. Um, when defenses scheme against the Ravens the last few years, it's been about scheming around Lamar and his running ability. And, it's allowed other running, like, I don't want to say lesser running backs, but running backs who aren't as good as Derrick Henry to have success, like Gus Edwards or Keaton Mitchell or even in Lamar's first MVP year, I forget his name, Mark.
oh,
I, I I
shoot.
can't remember. He was like
Blank
he was a running back for a long time.
Saint.
Mark, I think
Yeah,
it was
for the
Mark something.
Saints.
Um, Anyways, a lot of running backs have had success playing next to Lamar, but Derrick Henry is a different animal. Um, Defenses have been scheming around Derrick Henry as long as he's been on the Titans because he was the number one threat. Now he's not the number one threat, and that's going to be a first for him. So I think he's gonna have honestly a huge season. But the big question mark, though, and I guess we can get into it, is the offensive line and some of the losses we've had in the offseason. So it hasn't
Yep.
been just additions; it's been some significant losses.
Yep. I'm gonna say, first of all, it was Mark Ingram, by the way,
Mark
for
Ingram.
the Saints, for the former Saints,
He was
was
a
on the
beast.
Ravens. Yeah, he was a beast. Obviously, he was in like the twilight of his career, but he was a beast. Um, okay, so back to the offseason recap. Losses. Yes, there were plenty of losses that we had. I would say we lost OBJ. He was past his prime, but he was a great locker room leader. So I didn't. I mean, it sucked losing him. It would be great to have him back, but I wouldn't say that was a significant loss for us. I think the biggest loss was actually in our O line. We lost three O linemen who were pretty solid. We lost Kevin Zeitler. He headed to Detroit. We lost Morgan Moses. He was traded to the Jets, and we lost John Simpson, who's also going to New York. And to replace them, the Ravens, we drafted a right tackle, Roger Rosengarten. I believe it was in the second round. Um, and on top of that, we have just several pieces that we had drafted and have been developing. Last year, we drafted Andrew Voorhees. He was supposed to be projected between late first round and early third round. But he tore his ACL I believe at the combine, and we actually picked him up in the seventh round. So definitely a huge risk on our part. I mean, I know ACL tears are. I mean, I think medically, the sports world is a lot better at dealing with ACL tears, and people are able to come back from them, especially someone who's so young. It's definitely more devastating for a football player that's a lot older, but we'll see. That's still a work. I mean, you never know, like how lineman or any athlete will react to a ACL tear, and so we'll see how he performs this year in his true rookie year. Um,
Right.
uh, all right, and we're back. You're gonna notice a quick cut there, guys. Deepak, do you want to explain why we have a quick cut there?
Yeah, I forgot to charge my phone. It died.
Yeah, yep. So on our inaugural episode, when everything's supposed to go perfect, and I definitely told you to prepare for this, you decided to not charge your phone. We had technical difficulties with your headphones, with your mic. Yeah. Um,
It's
fantastic
all right.
first episode. No, I'm just kidding. I was just with you. Okay. All right. So where we left off was,
Preseason.
yep, it's preseason. Yep, this is where we work out the kinks. You're right. You're right. So where we left off was Andrew Voorhees. Moving on, Nate Wiggins, a first round pick. He's been looking fantastic throughout all preseason.
He
I think
looked
he
like a
averaged.
beast though, the one game
He
he played.
he looked like a beast, and he was all over the field in the Eagles. It was the Eagles, right? The preseason game. He was all over the field. Let's
Yeah.
move on to Adisa Isaac and last year's rookie as well. Actually, let's talk about last year's rookie, Trenton Simpson, who's replacing Patrick Queen. He looks
Yep.
fantastic. I believe he had an
Yeah.
interception
He,
in the Packers
Packers
game.
game. Yeah,
Yep.
he looked
He
really
looks
good.
like
And
yeah.
I think in the Eagles game he led the league in tackles, or it was maybe even this game. It might have been the
Wow.
Eagles one, but he looked really good.
Yeah. Yeah, he looks good. TJ Tampa, depth piece for the corner, solid. Uh I believe
We
Rasheen
cut
Ali.
Pepe Williams today.
I know that's tough. I heard about that.
That
Um
that means that our corner depth is crazy. That's what it tells me.
Yeah, no, I think it is too. I mean, getting Nate Wiggins, Brandon Stevens is phenomenal. Marlon Humphrey is great. But just focusing on the draft real quick, let's move on to Devin Leary, who, in my opinion, really fucking sucks. I don't understand why we wasted a late round pick on him. He's absolutely terrible. He throws so many picks. I mean, I guess it's a sixth round pick, but I feel like I just
We needed more offensive linemen
we need more
and
offensive linemen. I mean, we got Nick Samak. I think he got actually injured in the Packers game, Samak. But like it's just I don't I yeah we have and that's another issue I want to talk about. We have a serious issue for our backup quarterback. I know like for every
yeah,
team, when you lose your starting quarterback, you're kind of screwed. I mean, but you should be able to rely on your backup quarterback to at least win one or two games. And like the drop off in talent from Lamar to the next quarterback is
it's
insane. I mean,
it's
it's
outrageous.
it's outrageous.
The thing is, yeah, I agree, but the thing is, like, you also have to remember that the backup QBs. like none of our offensive starters played pretty much. Um, Derrick Henry didn't play. I don't think any of our linemen played. At
Deepak,
least like our veterans.
do you understand our backup quarterback is a legend for being known as a legend? He's like apparently like a legendary journeyman, and he's 38 years old. He's 38
Yeah,
years old. He's
that's pretty
so
bad.
old, dude. He
Yeah,
the most notable thing he's done in his career is that he was the XFL passer rating leader.
yeah, that's pretty bad.
XFL. Like
Yeah,
like who is this
we're missing
guy?
Tyler Huntley. We're missing Tyler
Yeah,
Huntley.
we're missing Tyler Huntley. It's terrible.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
like
I don't know why we didn't sign some veteran. I don't know if Tannehill is on a team right now. Like he would have been, even though he's not like Lamar, he's still like a solid quarterback. You know, he could play the backup role. Um,
yeah, yeah,
there's just a lot of guys out there. I think that we could have brought in,
yeah.
and instead we have two really bad,
We have one
horrendous
dude
QBs.
who's like is old, is so old. I don't understand how he's still in the NFL, to be honest. And we have another guy who just can't stop throwing picks to save his life. So it's pretty dire in the quarterback room. Besides, obviously Lamar, reigning
Right?
MVP. Moving on to wide
But that's
receiver.
not, as long as Lamar stays healthy, that's not a problem. That doesn't really
Yeah,
matter.
but with the O line issues, makes me a little nervous.
Right,
And
right,
Lamar, I mean, let's face it, I love Lamar, but he has had an injury history. He's
right,
missed 2 seasons, not like full
right,
seasons, but he's missed like significant time in 2 seasons. Uh,
right.
2 of the last 3 seasons. Um, okay, so moving on to wide receiver, this is as a diehard Ravens fan, and for those Ravens fans out there, you already know we always have problems at wide receiver. There's always question marks at wide receiver. Fun fact, we've never had a Pro Bowl wide receiver, or I even think an All Pro wide receiver in our Ravens franchise history. So going back to
Right.
1996, it's pretty ridiculous. Um, so starting off, we have Zay Flowers. Obviously, I have a lot of high expectations for Zay Flowers. I think he's going
He's,
to break. Yeah, I think he's going to break the curse and bring us the first ever Pro Bowl receiver and possibly even all pro receiver. I think he's really that good, and his connection with Lamar is
I
legit.
don't know about that. I don't know about all pro. Pro ball is possible, but all pro,
No?
you'd
Okay.
have to be one of the, how many all pro receivers do they take? Two or three per
Yeah.
level?
Yeah, something like that, I
Hmm,
would say.
I don't know about all
Okay.
that.
Well, maybe Pro Bowl. Okay, that's fair.
Pro
I
ball
think,
for sure.
yeah. Yeah. Um, and then we have Rashad Bateman, who is a first round pick that honestly has had injury issues. When he is healthy, he seems like he seems like he has the routes down and he can run excellent routes. I saw some sort of like chart that shows like separation of a receiver, and Rashad Bateman was like an outlier on that chart. But he just injury has really hurt him, and on top of that, I feel like he just has a lot of chemistry issues with Lamar. I feel like
Yeah.
they're just like never almost never on the same page. It's weird. Um,
Yeah. I don't
and
know what it is.
I don't know what it is either because I and I'm hoping this is the year where it finally starts to click and they're all able to start playing together. We'll see. But I'm hopeful. I believe this is going to be Rashad Bateman's year to break out. Um, he signed an extension with us, which is great. It shows that the Ravens have faith in him. And it's a vote of confidence for him, and hopefully that will carry into the season. On top of that,
Right.
we have Nelson Aguilar, which what do we like to call him, Deepak?
Stone hands.
Yeah, Stone Hands Aguilar. He just obviously he's known for the drops, but he always has those like couple catches that are pretty damn clutch that
Yeah.
happen. But he also has his drops. Um, we also have Tylen Wallace, who most famously known for the punt return last year, but he just never
Yeah.
really had a chance. I don't know if he's really had a chance on the starting receiving lineup, but I don't know if
Yeah.
he's good enough to be in the starting lineup. But those are really our 1, 2, and 3 is Flowers, Bateman, Aguilar. Um,
Right.
And then on top of that, obviously Mark Andrews, a tight end, and Isaiah Likely, who is
He's really good.
he's really good. He's legit. I think
Yeah.
when Mark Andrews is all said and done, he's getting up there. He's still in his 20s, but like you never know. One injury and it could be all over. Look at Dennis Pitta. So
He had a bad injury last
yeah,
year
he had a bad injury last year.
on
So
the hip
like,
drop tackle.
yep. So
And he got
Isaiah,
in a car accident.
yeah, and he got in a car accident. Thankfully, I think thankfully he
He's
didn't get.
fine, but
He's fine,
yeah.
but yeah. So yeah, I mean that pretty much sums up our season recap. I think we can move over to what everybody's waiting for, which is the season prediction. Now, granted,
Yep.
this season prediction is being made. What are we at? Like 10 days before the kickoff of the first
Something
game,
like that.
something like
Something like
that.
that.
So hopefully, fingers crossed, there are no injuries these next 10 days. Hopefully. So with that, let's move on to our predictions. So, gonna start off with you, Deepak, for week one, the opener at the Chiefs, where
Yep.
they're gonna get their Super Bowl ring, and we get to watch them get their Super Bowl ring and be happy and merry.
Yep.
And we'll be horrifyingly depressed as we see them do their ring ceremony. What are your thoughts? What are you thinking?
It's Patrick Mahomes, Chiefs dynasty. Ravens are coming in with a chip on their shoulder from the AFC Championship. Got something to prove. Added Derrick Henry. Gotta be physical, run hard, play defense hard. We're coming ready to play. Have a whole off season and training camp to plan for this week one. Um, so I'm gonna say the Chiefs are gonna win. They're just we've had a lot of turnover in the offseason, lost several offensive linemen. Harbaugh's said we're going to be rotating tackles potentially week one, which is that sounds insane to me, especially against the Chiefs.
Yeah,
It's in Kansas City. It's the loudest place to play. I mean, I don't think I don't think it's going to be a blowout or anything like that. It's hard for me to believe that with some new players on offense, several new players on offense. Um, Lamar hasn't played any preseason, so he hasn't played a game since January. Whereas the Chiefs have. Chiefs have these new weapons. Although Hollywood is not playing, and I think Rashee Rice got suspended or something. So they actually are going to have a lack of weapons. They also just signed Juju Smith-Schuster back. So it's going to be an interesting game. Week one's always weird, but Andy Reid is historically great week one.
so are
Um,
we.
so are we, but it's hard for me to pick against the Chiefs at this point. So I'm going to say the Chiefs win it.
Yep, that's totally fair. And I'm gonna say we're actually gonna win it. Week one, I think. I think we've been thinking about the Chiefs all off season, and we want our vengeance. And when you're obsessed, I think that's gonna come out in this game, and we're just gonna. I mean, I think we're gonna win. And I think the Chiefs, like last year, they started off slow against the Jets. They did not. I think they still won, I believe, but they barely won. Um,
They lost their week one last year to the Lions.
oh, it was. I'm
Barely.
sorry. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So I do think we're gonna win. I think, like I said, we want our vengeance. I think the Chiefs are gonna be celebrating a little bit too much. I might be taking away from might be thinking basketball too much, but typically like the defending champions during ring ceremony, they're just very happy and not really. They're just a little bit too celebratory, and they're just gonna be more focused on that versus playing football or focusing on the game. And I think we're gonna steal
Maybe.
one. And
I mean, Patrick Mahomes is going to be thinking about that top 100 list.
that's a very good point. I might be. That's a very good point, actually.
And he's
um,
definitely pissed about
he's
that.
definitely upset about that. And for those that don't know, in the NFL Top 100, the players rate the top 100 players, and Lamar came in at number two of the top 100, and Patrick Mahomes, defending Super Bowl champion, came in at number four. Second best quarterback in the top 100. according to the top 100, and number 4 overall in the top 100. So I'm sure he's gonna have a chip on his shoulder, which is fantastic for us. But you know what? I'm sticking with my W. I think we're gonna come out and we're gonna win this game because historically we always start out strong the first game, and we're definitely gonna want payback for what the Chiefs did to us last season. Moving on to
Right.
game 2. This is the Ravens versus the Raiders, and this is our first home opener. I'm just gonna say this is gonna be a win. I'm assuming you're thinking the same. Yeah, not much to talk about the Raiders. They're just kind of, you
Not
know,
great.
not great. Uh,
Who's your quarterback?
that's a great question. I don't even know who their quarterback is, to be honest. They might have a rookie, or they might. Let's see.
It's not Jimmy G anymore. Um,
Yeah, it's not Jimmy G anymore. Let's see. Raiders
they still have
quarterback.
Devontae Adams. They still have that pass rusher who's really good.
Well, from what I'm hearing, Devontae Adams is just not. Oh, it's Gardner Minshew. Well, Gardner Minshew. I mean,
He's all right.
he's all right. He's all right, but
He
like,
beat us on the Colts, I think.
yeah,
Last year? Or was it last year?
yeah, that is true. We did lose to the Colts.
It was an early season game.
I
It
don't
was like
know.
week 2 or
And Devontae Adams, I heard he's just not happy on the Raiders. So I just
I mean I'm gonna say W, like come on,
I
what
think
the
it's a
hell? We
W for
shouldn't
us.
lose to the Raiders.
Yeah, especially in a home opener, and I just don't think the Raiders are that good. I don't think they're gonna be that good this year. I don't think anyone thinks they're gonna be that good this year except Raiders fans. So, let's move
Right.
on to week 3. So this is Ravens visiting Dallas to face the Cowboys. I'm gonna start off. You know, the Cowboys, they put up great numbers. CD Lamb just signed a mega contract, second paid, highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. Dak is, in my opinion, on the hot seat. If he, and I think in a lot of people's opinions, if he doesn't, in my opinion, if he doesn't at least make the NFC Championship this year, I think Dak will not be part of the Dallas Cowboys after this season. With that all being said, I'm saying this is going to be a W for us. You know, the Cowboys, they're just not good. They just, I mean, they beat up on the bad teams and they don't play well against the good teams. And
Right.
I think a lot of people, I think we're going to be a good team this year. I think, you know, historically the Ravens are always in the mix for the playoffs, usually, especially with Lamar. If he's fully healthy, you know, he's a superstar. I think this is going to be a win for us.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and I would add to that that NFC teams historically have had a tough time with Lamar because they don't see him as often.
Yep.
So this is kind of textbook Cowboys defense kind of falls apart and gets ran all over. And it's hard for me to put faith in the Cowboys against a good team. And I guess, like you said, we're probably going to be a good team this year.
Yep.
We have a really good defense. Now, Zachary Orr taking over as defensive coordinator is yet to be seen if that will be successful. But we have the players there: Kyle Hamilton, Roquan Smith, Madubuike, Marlon Humphrey, and some of the other corners that we mentioned
Kyle
earlier.
Hamilton, yeah.
We just have, I mentioned Kyle Hamilton. We just have really good players on that side of the ball, and then we have really good players on the offense. So I think we're just gonna beat the Cowboys.
Yep.
It is what it is.
Yep. That's fair. Moving on to our next game, which is our home. I think it's our first. No, it's one of our primetime games. Obviously, the Chiefs Ravens is a primetime game. This is a primetime game at home against the Bills. This is going to be a tough game. I know, you know,
Yeah,
they lost Stephon Diggs, but he wasn't. I mean, he had a good season, but towards the end of the season or back half of the season, in the playoffs, he really wasn't much of a factor in those games. I think this
this is
game
a
is
tough
going to
game.
be a loss for us. It's a tough one. It's a tough one to pick because we, you know, it's obviously at home for us. But I just think I think Josh Allen is going to have a big year this year, in my opinion. I think this is the year where, you know, dare I say MVP for the season. I think Josh Allen is going to be out there with something to prove, and uh, this is going to be the start of his, you know, possible MVP season. So that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really, really physical game because I think the Bills are going to move away from a pass-heavy offense to a more balanced and a little bit more runs and throws to tight ends type offense, more similar to ours. Um, but that being said, I think we're just the better team. We just have better talent on offense, better talent on defense, and
Yep.
it's at home. So I would say Ravens are going to win this one.
Okay. All right. All right. So you're on a 3-game win streak, and I'm taking my side. We're taking the first L of the season. All right. Moving on to the Bengals Ravens. This is our first division game, and it's against the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincinnati. Joe Burrow's coming off an injury. A lot of talk about Jamar Chase and what's going to go on with his whole, you know, his whole contract issue. Um, the Bengals, honestly, like historically, we just always play that. We always destroy the Bengals. Like, uh, Lamar plays really good against the Bengals. I like this is one of the division rivals where I'm not really afraid of. I'm not afraid of them as much as I am the Steelers. For some reason, the Steelers are just really tough for us to play, and even the Browns have started to step up. But the Bengals, for some reason, we just always play our A game and bring our A game against them. So, for me at least, I'm saying this is a W. I think the Bengals just I just honestly, I don't even believe in their defense. And on offense, I mean, yeah, they have Joe Burrow, but he's coming off an injury, and they do have Jamar Chase. But I believe in our defense more than I believe in their offense, and I definitely believe in our offense way more than I believe in their defense. And I think Derrick Henry will probably have a big game against the Bengals. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. What are your thoughts?
I basically agree with everything. I think we beat them. I think the Bengals are at kind of a crossroads. I think this year is going to be really important for them.
Yep.
Um, in my opinion, I like a lot of people are saying, "Oh, the Bengals are going to come back. Joe Burrow's coming back. He's going to be healthy." But I just don't think that team is very good, especially defensively. Um, it's yet to see how good that offensive line is. I think their offense is still going to be good, and they're going to put up some points. But I just think as a team as a whole, they aren't with the best of them. But we'll see. But I would say, yeah, the Ravens are they're gonna win this one.
Got it. Okay. All right. Now we got the DMV rivalry, the Ravens versus the Commanders. They have a rookie quarterback, new ownership, um, seeing if they can turn the franchise around. And they will not because we are going to win this game.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't, you know, the Commanders, I'm sure they're on the come up, but teams like this, it's just they're still on like rebuild mode, and a rookie quarterback, we against our defense is just we feast on rookie quarterbacks. So I don't, I mean, unless he stands out, I just don't see them beating us.
right. Yeah, I mean, agreed. Just
Yep.
don't see it.
Just don't see it. Yep. All right.
Although we do lose, sometimes we lose games we should win.
Sometimes we do lose games that we should win against. That could be one of them. That could be a sneaky one where we might lose that one. That's definitely possible. Um,
Right.
yeah. Oh, you know what? You know what? I might change mine actually to an L then.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm changing that to an L. This is gonna be the one where, just like the Steelers game last year, where they just dropped an unbelievable amount of passes. This is gonna be the one where just the most ridiculous shit happens, and we lose. We end up losing this game. So
Right.
yeah, there's always one. For some reason, there's always one in there, and this is the one, I think. Okay,
Yep.
moving on. We got the Buccaneers. Yeah. Now we got the Buccaneers Ravens. Buccaneers at home. Uh, Baker Mayfield, not playing with house money anymore. Kind of actually have to play quarterback, or not probably not take as much risk. Definitely some tape on him. I mean, there's obviously already tape on him, but on the Buccaneers offense, not much to say here. I think the NFC South is a very weak division. So, well, yeah, the Panthers, Buccaneers, Saints. Yeah, who's the other team?
Falcons are going to be
Falcons
okay
might be on
this
the
year.
come up. Yeah, I just think this is a W.
Yeah,
I think that the division is very weak. I don't.
yeah,
I mean, and not just that. I know it's in Tampa, but honestly, going to Florida, Lamar will be at home. I just, I see us putting on. Honestly, I see us putting on a show in Tampa Bay because whenever Lamar goes to Florida, he always puts on a show. So I think this is going to be a big game for Lamar. Big game.
yeah. I'm going W2, and I think I have like a 7 game win streak.
You are on. Let's see. You're on a one, two, three, four, five, 6 game win streak right now.
No way. I mean, I think we had a 6 game win streak last year. Actually,
Maybe, maybe.
I mean, we ended up like 13-3, right, or
Yeah,
13-3 or some shit.
13 and 4 it would be.
Yeah, but the last game we lost was to the Steelers, where we
We
benched everyone. That doesn't really count.
Yeah, you're right. So yeah, no, it's definitely possible. Moving on to the next game, second division game, for the season. It's at Cleveland Browns.
Uh, yeah, I'll put it out here.
Yeah. Um, I'm yeah, I'm leaning an L too. I
Yeah,
think the Browns play us hard, especially with questions at our O line. I feel like Miles Garrett is gonna feast. Um,
yeah,
Derrick Henry could possibly solve those issues and mitigate some of those issues for Lamar, but the Browns play us hard, man, and even last year they played us hard. I believe we lost to them 1 game.
we did.
Yep,
It was a
and
horrific loss. A game we should have won.
yep,
Definitely should have won.
yep, and I you gotta give the Browns their credit. They have a fantastic team. Their roster is really good. Honestly, their weakest link is quarterback. We'll see if Deshaun Watson comes back this year and becomes what Deshaun Watson used to be. But I honestly, if I was a betting man, I would say I don't. I just don't believe in Deshaun Watson. I think that contract, that deal has been a massive failure. I think I don't see him returning back to form. So
Right.
it's great for us. Sucks for the Browns, but yeah, that's probably, if not the worst contract in NFL history, definitely top 5. But it's probably the worst because it was fully guaranteed.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, moving on to Ravens Broncos. This is a home game against the Broncos. I think this is a W. The Broncos are.
Yeah.
I don't even know what's going
The
on with
rookie
them.
QBs, Bo Nix looks pretty good, but he's a rookie,
He's a
so it's
rookie,
just
and like it's at home, and I I don't even know like is there one thing the Broncos do good right now? Like,
they have a good cornerback.
okay,
They have an
unfortunately,
okay defense, but
yeah,
nothing
nothing stands out,
crazy.
nothing crazy. So I don't see anything I don't see anything special in the Broncos. I think they'll probably be last in the division, or they'll be battling the Raiders for last in the division.
Right.
So just don't see anything special happening there. Moving on, we got the third division. Oh my God, we have so many division games coming up, back-to-back division games. Starting off with Ravens Bengals. This is the home game against the Bengals. Um,
When
Again, I think this is a win. I think we just have the Bengals number. Even the game we lost him in the playoff with Tyler Huntley, we should have won that game. Tyler Huntley made a huge
yeah,
mistake. They just, for some
right.
reason, like we always play them well, and they always play us bad, to be honest. Especially if Lamar's playing. So I just think this is a W for us. I know everyone's talking about the Joe Burrows coming back, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if Joe Burrow's gonna come back like that. I mean, their O line still looks kind of sus to me. So we'll see. We'll see. But I'm just not sure about it. All right, moving on to the Steelers at Pittsburgh. Now, Lamar has a losing record against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers swept us last year. Granted, we didn't play. I don't think we played our stars last game of the season. Steelers always play us hard. It's always the hardest division game that we have for pretty much our entire franchise history. Um, with that being said, and our O line is very questionable. I'm saying this is a loss. You know, I think at this point Justin Fields will be the starter. I don't think Russell Wilson will be the starter at this point. I think Russell Wilson is past his prime, and he's just. I mean, the Broncos paid millions of dollars to get rid of him for a reason, and I think Justin Fields will electrify the offense for the Steelers with his run game. A little bit of his passing, but mostly his running. I think that plus, of course, T.J. Watt, fantastic defensive player, and the Steelers' defense in general has always been always good. I think they're just gonna give us trouble, and we're gonna take a loss here
Um, I'm gonna say a win. Um,
in
I
Pittsburgh.
think, yeah, I think we should have won Pittsburgh last year, but our receivers dropped like 4 touchdowns. I,
Yeah,
I think our team, our receivers, and Lamar are going to be thinking about that, how they should have beat him last year, uh, and they're going to get it done this time. And you know what? I'm going to say the opposite of what you're saying. I think if Justin Fields is starting, I think we're definitely going to win because I think Justin Fields turns the ball over a lot, is reckless, and against a really good defense, it's gonna be really bad for them.
got it.
Um, yeah, I think we were the better team last year. We're the better team this year. We should have swept them last year. We'll sweep them this year.
Got it. Okay. All right. Moving on to the Chargers Ravens. This is traveling to San Diego for this game. This one's gonna be tough. Jim Harbaugh is the coach. John Harbaugh's brother. Justin Herbert looking to bounce back from last season. I think, of course, my cat joins the frame as we're doing this. I think this game is going to be a loss for us. So we're gonna have back-to-back losses, 2 weeks in a row. And the reason why I'm thinking that is because the Chargers, we're gonna come off a bad loss against the Steelers, and they're gonna play us hard, and I think we're just gonna be beaten down from that. And then on top of that, travel. First of all, we're traveling to Pittsburgh, and then we're traveling all the way to the West Coast to San Diego. I just think both those things is just gonna be back. It's just gonna be tough for us, and we're just gonna go on a little bit of losing streak here, back-to-back losses. Um, Jim Harbaugh looking for revenge for the the Super Bowl 47. Um, and yeah,
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a loss too, just because of the West Coast travel and they're a tough team to play. And
yeah,
I should have put in here the dates. I'm curious to know what the time between games are because I don't know we have some Sunday games, some Thursday games. So that plays a factor as well. But I think the West Coast travel and coming off a really hard fought game against Pittsburgh, it's going to result in a loss.
yep, yep. That's fair. Moving on, we got the Ravens Eagles. So this is a home game against the Eagles. We got Lamar Jackson versus Jalen Hurts, who some people, say Lamar and Jalen Hurts are very similar quarterbacks. Um, that could be true. I think there are some similarities. I think Lamar is definitely a better passer, in my opinion, than Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts benefits a lot from having uh, a fantastic receiver in AJ Brown, who is a dog. On top of that, now he has Saquon Barkley, who is a fantastic uh, running back and also a great receiving back. Um, with that being said, I put this down for us as a W. I think we're going to win this game. I think, you know, AJ Brown's a great receiver, and Jalen Hurts can definitely have a bounce back season. But I think we have a better defense, and I think our offense is just as good as theirs on an overall basis. They, they probably have a better passing offense than us, but I think we definitely have a better rushing offense, and I think our passing offense is pretty good. Um, I mean, they have a good rushing offense too. Now I think about was on Barkley, but I think this is gonna be tough for us. We are at home, which really helps. Well, what are your thoughts?
I agree. I think it's going to be a W. The Eagles' defense wasn't very good last year. They also have some. They have some problems. I kind of wish we were playing them earlier in the season instead of later because they may figure out a bunch of their problems
Yeah,
by this point. Although the exact opposite happened last year. They were good in the first half of the season and then they just fell off and imploded. So that could happen again. But I just think we're a better team. It's at home.
yeah,
I mean, I don't think when I say better team, I don't think like that was that much better. We're just somewhat better, and it's at home, so
got it,
it's hard for me to pick against us in that scenario.
got it. All right. Then we got the bye week, so I'll put that as a W. What? No, just kidding. All right, so moving on, we got the Giants, uh,
I
Ravens
mean,
in New York.
W. The fuck?
I mean, we lost to the Giants a couple of years ago. I think it was
That's
2022
true.
against Daniel Jones.
That might
Uh,
have been the year we had a lot of injuries, though,
yeah, yeah.
and
But
they don't have
it,
Saquon anymore.
yeah, yeah. But let's be real. This is a W. Daniel Jones. I don't know why the Giants paid him all that money. Uh, I just, yeah, there. I would be. I mean, this could be one of those games. Like maybe I switch out the Commanders for them, but this could be one of those games where if we lose to a team that we should have definitely beaten. But I just, I'm saying this is a W for us.
Yeah,
Next game, home against the Steelers. Uh,
win for me.
I put this as a win. Yep. I think we're gonna split with the Steelers because they do play us hard. I think we're gonna. I mean, you're having us sweeping them, but
Yep.
I think we're gonna split with them. You having us sweeping us. Just gonna be a physical game, low scoring game. Very you know, very defensive, but I think we eke out the win on this one. And then after that, we have another home game. So back-to-back home games. This one's against the Texans. We played the Texans twice last year, and we beat them twice last year. CJ Stroud coming off a fantastic rookie season. Uh, they added Stephon Diggs. They are, people are questioning maybe there's a sophomore slump with CJ Stroud. That's definitely possible. Or maybe he takes off and he continues performing as he did last season. With all that being said, I think this one is going to be a loss for us. I think, CJ Stroud definitely, yeah, and the Texans themselves definitely have this game marked on their calendar. They've lost to us twice last year. We knocked them out of the playoffs. They're going to look for their get backs, and I think they're going to get it. I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. But I think, CJ Stroud they're going to take it. Tank Dell, uh, Stephon Diggs, I think they're going to take this one.
Yeah, that's fair. This is a tough one to call.
Yep.
Um, but I think I I'm really 50-50 on this one.
Hmm.
Um, I'll say we lose this one. Um, for all those reasons. It's a real tough call. I think it's gonna be a close game.
Yeah.
Um, I think again we're coming off a Steelers game. I think right the week before versus Giants the week before.
Hmm.
Because the Steelers or Giants were playing before the Texans.
Oh, the Steelers.
Yeah, so that's a tough game.
Yeah.
Focus will probably be on that.
Yeah.
So that I think results in a loss. But I mean, we could easily win this game. But I'll just for now, I'm going to say it's a loss. I have
Yeah.
to once the season gets going and I see how the team looks in the first like 4 or 5 weeks, then I'll have a much better idea of
Yep. Yep.
who we are.
Yeah, who we are. What's our identity as a team?
Yeah, what the Texans are. Because who knows? The Texans could be. There's teams that come into the season with expectations that fucking just suck.
They just suck.
That
Yeah.
happens. That happens all the time. So
Yep.
that
Especially
could
now we
easily
have.
happen with the Texans.
Yep. Especially now that we have tape on CJ Stroud. So
Yeah,
it
right,
the defenses have tape on him, so they'll be able to better prepare for him. All right.
right.
Final game of the season, home against the Browns. So already played the Browns once. We both have them as an L in Cleveland. I think for me, we're gonna split. And we're gonna take
Yeah.
this one, uh, learn learn our lessons from the first game, uh, finish out the season strong. Depending on yeah, I think we're gonna finish out the season strong and win this game and go into the playoffs. Uh, Looks like for me it's gonna be 11-7, so that's probably gonna be like third, fourth seed. Uh, should be enough to win the division, I think. But we'll see.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be a W. What did it end up for me?
You think it's gonna be a W? All right.
Yeah. We'll split with the Browns.
All right. Looks like you're gonna be 13-5.
13-5. Yeah, that
Wait,
sounds about
that
right.
can't be right. This should be 6, and this should be 4. There we go. So we'll be 11-6, because it's 17 games. Probably something to do with the
Oh,
season. That's okay. And you think 13-4. So actually, I think that's the same as last year. So you think we're not gonna regress at all? We're just gonna be possibly the number one overall seed again.
well. See, that was enough to win number. No, last year was a weird year.
Yeah.
Um, that was enough to win number one overall last year. I don't think that'll be enough this year.
Yep. Yep.
I
Okay.
think the Chiefs will be, 15-2 or 14-3 or some shit.
Yeah.
Because they're just better. The Chiefs are better this year.
Yeah. The Chiefs are
Um,
definitely better this year.
and the
Um.
Texans are much better. So they could. I mean, the Texans could easily end up being first seed. They could be a 14-win team.
Yeah. That division is pretty terrible. So that does
So
make sense. They could be a first seed team just because the division is just pretty awful. The Colts maybe, but for the most part, the division's pretty terrible.
Jaguars.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, we'll see what happens with them and Trevor Lawrence. I don't know. All right,
yeah,
so going into the 2024-2025 season, I have it 11-6, and you have it 13-4. Um, and we
we'll end
can
up
say,
12-5.
huh? What was that?
We'll probably end up 12-5.
That would be funny. Um,
'Cause I don't think I have a trap game in there. If I had a trap game, we'd be 12-5.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, those are some great predictions. I think it's safe to say either of those predictions will make the playoffs. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe in another video we'll talk about you know playoff predictions for the Ravens. This is assuming we're gonna make it based on our our predictions here for the regular season. And with
Yeah,
that, that ends the first episode of the questionable group chat. Want to
way
say
longer than we wanted it to go.
way longer than we wanted it to go. If you did stick with us this long, thank you so much. If you didn't, I understand, even though you probably can't hear this because you definitely closed out of the video. But uh, thank you for those who did stick around and wanted to, hear our riveting opinions on the Baltimore Ravens. But I feel good.
Yep.
I was feeling nervous about our roster, but now I'm feeling pretty confident about it. I know we have issues at O line, but I think things will work themselves out. Hopefully, hopefully.
Yeah.
All
Otherwise,
right.
EDC's got to make a trade this year for something.
Yep. Yep. I think if there's a trade to make, it would be for an O lineman, um, or a pass
Right.
rusher. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe David Ojabo works out and he starts to perform like we expect him
Hopefully.
to. Hopefully. Anyways, with that, let's wrap it up. Thank you so much for joining, and make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll get back to you with more Ravens content when the season starts. Thank you. I literally can't believe how shitty your camera is. That Joan is crazy as fuck. We're supposed to be twins. We don't even look like each other right now. That's how fucking bad the camera is, dog.
All right, is this better?
Oh, that is way fucking better. That is like 1,000 times better than the camera you're usually using. Like, pretty unbelievable how shitty this camera is. Maybe. All right, we are live. So this is just a test. Deepak, please fucking say something, or I can't do the test.
Test, test,
Am I
test, test.